What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, how you doing?
It's great. Off season, always great. Always excited.
There's nothing that's happening. You can't tell me it's great. You can't tell me it's exciting. Don't even for the Angels. I mean, sure.
There's hope. I haven't had hope since last offseason.
I haven't even told you what we're talking about, and you're like spot on. But before we get going, it's weird. I mean, it's not like hope or anything like that, but it's a conversation that we always have. Before we get going, don't forget follow us on all our social medias: Twitter, well, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Timms, Nate at NateGreen34. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to follow wherever you're listening to us. Don't
Smack
forget
that bell.
subscribe, hit that bell, yeah, whatever they say on YouTube, all that fun stuff. Almost had 1,000 followers, which is a lot of fun. Thank you everybody who are subscribers, should I say? I'm sorry, subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much for all that. With all that being said, let's get this rolling here. I have two questions. I have two simple questions. Hopefully they're simple. We might elaborate a little bit on them. We do this every year, right?
Of course.
But since it's the off season, let's do it again. Who are those one or two players, and you can give one or two, whatever you want to give, that if they are starting on opening day, the Angels are not contending?
Okay, I will go two just because. David Fletcher is one of them for me. I don't think David Fletcher should be a starter. He's a fine role player, bench guy, defensive replacement, things like that. But if that guy is starting every day at second base or shortstop or third base, wherever, like, this team is not a playoff team. The second guy for me, I think, is going to be a little bit surprising. Some people are going to be upset with this, but it's Mickey Moniak. I don't think Mickey Moniak is a guy who starts every day on a postseason roster. He's a really good fourth outfielder. He's a guy who can get some ABs against some righties. When it's like a really tough righty, and maybe a Taylor Ward could struggle or things like that. But if going into the year, Mickey Moniak is your starting right fielder, center fielder, left fielder, like, we're going to be in trouble, because we saw it last year. He was really hot for a month and a half, and then he came back down to earth, and he came scorching back down to earth. You look at his numbers, and he went from being
the Justin Upton treatment. Is that what you're saying?
Justin Upton treatment is the opposite, actually, where you're really, really bad early, and then you're really, really good when the Angels are out of the postseason, which is kind of the Luis Rengifo treatment, but whatever. But yeah, I think those are the two guys. Honestly, if the roster is built around those two guys, it's going to be a long year.
I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if I'm going to intentionally try to piss some people off, or I'm going to stay kind of more conservative. My number one guy is Griffin Canning. If he is starting in the rotation, I don't mind him starting. I don't mind him in the bullpen, because he can't start in the bullpen. If he's taking Jaime Barria's role, I think it's not a bad move there. But I'm saying if he is in the Angels starting rotation on opening day, the Angels are not contending. I think it's fair to say. I almost went Patrick Sandoval for you, just for
if
you.
He's the 5, you're upset.
Canning?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Angels didn't get good. The Angels did not get good enough. Because I think that at the moment, Tyler Anderson's that 4. And Griffin Canning's the 5. I would have said Tyler Anderson, but that would make me bump up 2 starting pitchers, and you'd have to figure out something to do with Tyler Anderson. I don't want to dive into that.
Yeah, no. I get the Tyler Anderson thing. I think we all are in agreement on Tyler Anderson shouldn't be on this roster, but he's going to be. If Tyler Anderson's not on this roster and Griffin Canning's your 5, are you still upset?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to clarify for those listening, so they're not thinking that you think that Griffin Canning can't start. It's Griffin Canning can't be in the rotation with
Tyler Anderson.
One of those two guys. That's two guys that you have to worry about instead of one, because Canning actually isn't the worst number 5 starter.
No, but I'd prefer.
And honestly, like, the way that the thing would work out, Canning would probably be the 4 and Anderson would be the 5, and that's where the problem would be. If Canning is your number 4, you're expecting him to be like a lot better than a 5-inning 4-run guy.
Yeah.
A 4.5 ERA type of guy, which I think is what he is, which is a fine 5 starter. But if he's in the rotation with Tyler Anderson, that's where the problem is, correct?
Yes, yeah, no, I absolutely. If both of those guys are in the rotation, let's go with that. Both those guys are in the rotation. Angels are definitely not competing. I think that's fair to say. And I think personally, I think if Griffin Canning's in the rotation, I think if either one of them is in the rotation, they didn't get good enough to compete. I think that's fair to say. However, for the sake of this argument, I'm saying Griffin Canning, just because. And then my second guy, and I've gone back and forth here a little bit too, but I'm going to go Luis Renifo on this
Yep.
one.
Yep.
You could go Brandon Drury as well. You can say, if Brandon Drury's starting at second base, the Angels probably aren't competing, but I think that they can compete with Brandon Drury at second base. I don't think they can compete with Luis Renifo starting at second base. That means Brandon Drury is probably playing a different position, which is third base.
Jury's probably the opening day DH right now. Like if the lineup had to go to bat right now, Jury's probably the opening day DH.
Or Rendon, with Drury at third.
Yeah. And Rengifo's your opening day second baseman. I think that's an interesting answer from you just because you were super excited for Wash to work with Rengifo. I'm not a big Rengifo guy. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. I just kind of threw some shade at him with the Justin Upton comp, really good when the lights are off. But yeah, I understand it. Like if those guys are playing big time roles on this team's not good enough.
No,
this team
100%.
This team, as badly as I want them to be good, because like I am truly an Angel fan. You guys all hear me as negative Nate and things like that, but like I am truly a diehard Angel fan. I'm born and raised an Angel fan. I love this team, and that's why I'm so passionate and so pissed off with the rosters that they continue to run out there every single year, because it's just a disgrace to what I've seen. I grew up in the early, late 90s, early 2000s, where I saw really, really good baseball teams. And then you see the 2010s and things like that, like early 2000s all the way to 2010, 2013, like they were always competitive.
Great.
And now you look at where they've been the last 6-7 years, it's like they're not even competitive. Like it's just frustrating to look at the roster. So for the Angels to be really good, they have a lot of work to do this offseason. It's not, oh, hey, get us one pitcher here, one position player here, and we're going to be really, really good. Like this team is 2 starting pitchers away, like 2 legitimate starting pitchers away. This team is a middle infielder away, and probably another, I would say a center fielder, because I really think Mike Trout should move to right field. I know people are upset about that, but whatever. I think Trout playing 140 games, 150 games in right field makes the Angels better than playing 85 games in center field. Like I want Mike Trout hitting 3 times, 4 times a game as much as possible. I don't want him, missing 100+ games. So yeah, I think they're a center fielder away, a middle infielder away, and 2 starting pitchers away, plus some bullpen depth. And that's not including like a middle of the order guy as well. Like this team really needs Taylor Ward to step up as well. Like Taylor Ward has got to be closer to 2021 Taylor Ward, not 2022 Taylor Ward, because they need that guy to be like a 4-5 hitter and not a borderline 7th, 8th hitter.
And I agree with that. They're missing a lot of pieces right now for sure. With the second baseman conversation, since we're going to go there, and I'd love to hear the people on YouTube here. Who do you think the Angels opening day starting second baseman is? Give me, hey, let's play it this way. Give me who you think and who you want.
I think it's Brandon Drury.
Okay.
I think Perry signed him last year as a second baseman. I think Wash will really push hard against that, because I think Wash will watch Drury play and be like, you know what, this guy's not a second baseman. He's probably a third baseman or a first baseman. Like, I'm not playing this guy at second base. Who do I want at second base? Oh, this list is very, very long for me, because like there's different tiers, obviously. Like, tier 1 dream scenario, you find a way to get Nolan Gorman. I think Nolan Gorman provides some left-handed power in the middle of the order. Could probably hit 5th. Could also play third base if Rendon goes down. Makes a lot of sense from also fitting in with this young core. Like he's young, about the same age as Neto and Shanuel and guys like, and Ohapi and guys like that, where it's like, hey, you would have him for 5 years to ride with this young core, really help build up with what they're going to do. But then you have that tier 2 list, which I think is the most realistic. And I think, honestly, Tim Anderson's that guy. I kind of talked about it last time. I think Tim Anderson brings what this Angels lineup needs to build around, because like we talked about, this lineup needs a lot of help, right? They need a middle of the lineup guy. They need a true center fielder. They need a second baseman who's going to play some really good defense, things like that. So with all of that, it's not realistic to get all of that. With the resources the Angels have, like, they're going to spend money. I'm not discounting that, but like, the Angels don't have the resources to just be like, oh, hey, we're going to make this trade for Dylan Cease and for Nolan Gorman and for, Corbin Burns or something like that. It's like, oh, hey, all of a sudden we fixed 3 of our 4 problems. We'll go sign, this center fielder for a decent amount, and all of a sudden our entire problems are fixed. And it's like, that's not realistic with the prospects we have and the young core that we're trying to build. So I think, honestly, the most realistic answer is Tim Anderson, because this offense is going to have to play Joe Madden, S baseball, where he says 1990s baseball to early 2000s baseball, where it's like, you're going to have to run. You saw how important it was to steal bases last year. You're going to have to run. You're going to have to play defense. If you can do that and pitch, you're going to be fine. But if we have this same offense that says we're going to try and hit, everyone's going to try and hit 35 homers, it's not going to work. This team is not built to do that.
I'll give 2 like random guesses here, and one is going to be Jorge Polanco, and one is going to be Kevin Biggio. I don't know why, just random names there as I'm scrolling through. That's what I was doing there. Free agency, I think I wouldn't mind Tim Anderson. I think that makes a lot of sense. Angels have already been linked to Candelario. I don't know how much he plays second base.
Second baseman.
And also then wouldn't surprise me if, from Perry's statement earlier this week saying the Angels are good where I'm happy with where some of these guys are, they have, and I know we already talked about this, a guy like David Fletcher, a guy like Luis Renifo, Brandon Drury. Do I think they need to get better at second base? And this is a weird conversation to have because second base isn't the most important of positions. Absolutely. But I think that they're also satisfied with the depth that they have there.
I would be satisfied with 73 wins as well. I think that's a good number.
I didn't want to get you off on that tangent. So
I mean, that's just what he is. Perry is obsessed with mediocre, and that's what he loves. That's why he continues to come out every year and say, hey, you know what? I'm really, really happy with where we're at. I think our pitching staff, if we had to go out there today, like, I'm pretty excited with where our pitching's at. It's like, bro, we had one of the worst pitching staffs in baseball last year. And we're losing probably our number one guy. No, our number one guy. So, like, how do you get better by subtraction that way? Like, it just doesn't make sense. You're really going to need guys to take that big step up. And I just don't see Tyler Anderson taking that step up. I could see a guy like Reed Detmers, Chase Silseth. I really don't see Patrick Sandoval taking that next step. He's too much of a mental midget to do it. So there's just a lot of issues with where the Angels are at. And for Perry to come out and say this team is good where it's at, like, worst case, it's like, bro, you just signed your fired check, your last check, because if you're, I know I said that bad, but you just signed your time as GM away. Because if this team wins 73 games again, there's no shot they're bringing this guy back.
Yeah, and this is probably going to haunt me. This has been my last words for the night. At least they didn't sign Ronaldo Lopez for $10 million a year. So with all that being said, guys, you're welcome for that. I know we talked about it. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for listening and watching this podcast. Stick with us. We have a couple more podcasts coming this week. Happy Thanksgiving as well this week.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Well, we'll be talking some more. We got some more to talk about for sure tomorrow. But go ahead and follow us on our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Jared_Tim's, Nate at Nate Green 34. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.